Uber made $500 million off this one little thing, and nobody likes it.
Xbox, Twitter, Uber,
Postmates,
Netflix, MoviePass,
Google, Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash, Apple, Amazon, Airbnb,
the Apptrepreneur. Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur, and we are going to have to talk about Uber being Uber. And when I say Uber being Uber, I say that in the sense that Uber is, of course, a very useful company to have. It provided a lot of opportunity initially for people who want to make extra money. It streamlined transportation for those of us who had a car breakdown, and now we can get to work in an affordable way. However, Uber being Uber is a term that I use when it's like they make money in very shady, unethical ways, and they really don't seem to care, and they've been doing it for so long, and it's so well known that, frankly, you just can't help but shrug oh, well, that's Uber being Uber. What do you want me to say? But this one might be a little different for some people. Because in this case, Uber actually profited $500 million with this one fee that was technically taken from both the rider and the driver. And here's the worst part of it all. It all went to a service that Uber technically doesn't even provide. However, before we talk about any of that, let's have a word from our sponsors. And today's video is sponsored by Maximo, the rideshare automation app that allows drivers to safely and easily accept ride requests for Uber, Lyft, and Postmates. Whether you drive for a single platform or multiple platforms, Maximo's custom settings can help you drive more efficient, less distracted, and help you maximize your earnings. It will automatically accept one trip, turn off the other apps, and when your trip is over, it will end it, open the other apps, and accept the next trip, all without you having to touch your phone. Use referral code APP60 and get your first month free when you subscribe to Maximo. This article is from Incorporated. Uber reportedly made $500 million selling this one little thing. Customers and drivers really don't like it. Still, they sold it and they made a lot of money from it, apparently. So some of you, if you've been paying attention to the videos the last few days, you might actually know where we're going with this. But I think it's worth stressing because I did that video and maybe I didn't emphasize it well enough what was going on with this. But a lot of people seem to really not react to it. And it's I think they should have reacted. So we're going to kind of talk about it again. So anyway, here it is. If you run a business, you probably often ask yourself one question. Are you charging the right price? If you increase prices, will customers drop off? But if you don't increase them enough, are you leaving money on the table? Well, here's the thing. We're already not related to Uber on this one because Uber does nothing but drop prices and they squeeze the driver. So I think the analogy is a little off, but let's continue. One solution that a lot of companies come up with is to split the amounts that they charge into a bold-faced price tag, so to speak, along with a bunch of hidden fees. The airline industry is famous for this. During the first 3 months of this year, for example, American Airlines made $317.3 million, United Airlines made $238.5 million, and Delta Airlines made $201.4 million on baggage fees. Yeah, baggage fees. So that's the thing where you put your bag there and they're like, that'll be like a $25 storage fee. We all hate that. Now add Uber to this game. Because a new book says Uber made $500 million simply by adding a $1 safe ride fee that supposedly funds an industry-leading background check process, regular motor vehicle checks, driver safety education, development of safety features in the app, and insurance. Let's take a brief little moment aside that I don't think anyone in principle objects to this fee. If it is being used because, hey, we need to fund the safety checks, we need to fund the background checks, we need to fund new and innovative ways to make the passengers and drivers safer, no one objects to this. No one does that at all. Now, of course, it gets a little murky when the safety fee keeps going up because the drivers don't get any of that, obviously. But hey, if it's actually being spent doing what they say it is there to do, then everyone is perfectly fine with it. However, that's not what's going on. Because here's the thing. Rather than going to fund those kind of initiative, specifically the misleading fee first rolled out in 2014, instead was devised primarily to add $1 of pure margin to each trip, according to Mike Isaac, a New York Times reporter whose book Super Pumped, The Battle for Uber comes out tomorrow. Something tells me I will have to be buying this book and reading it. As Isaac summarizes, after the money was collected, it was never earmarked specifically for improving safety. At the time, driver safety education consisted of little more than a short video course, and in-app safety features weren't a priority until years later. And I bet we all know when that was. The company was facing rising costs on insurance and background checks for drivers, but an eventual class action lawsuit alleged that it was marketing, which claimed industry-leading checks and the safest rides, was untrue. Uber settled for some $30 million, a fraction of what the fee earned the company in revenue. Come to think of it, when the airline adds baggage fees, you do at least get to bring a bag on board the plane. That's actually his sarcastic comment, and I like that one. By the way, Joel Rosenblatt of Bloomberg noted the safe ride figures at $448.5 million in an improperly redacted court filing in 2016. And as The Verge points out, they cost more in some cities than others. $1.35 per trip in San Francisco, $1.25 in Philadelphia, and $1.65 in Los Angeles. I want to weep right now. Guess which market I'm in. Drivers didn't like the fees because they increased the effective price of an Uber ride but didn't result in a higher commission. And customers disliked it enough to file the aforementioned class action lawsuit. One net result: if you're an Uber customer and you're wondering why the safe ride fees doesn't ring a bell, that might be because Uber is no longer allowed to call it that. It's now simply listed as a booking fee. Beyond the fees, Isaac clearly seems bearish on Uber's prospect as a company, citing factors like, and we might as well read these out, the fact that it lost 5.2 during the latest quarter. The idea that it faces well-financed competitors offering a substantially similar product. It needs to subsidize every order on its meal delivery service, and it's cost-cutting to the point of laying off marketing employees and directing employees to stop giving out helium balloons on work anniversaries in favor of cheaper stickers. That video, by the way, was particularly loved by a lot of people in the Facebook forums and in the comments section. They just couldn't believe that Uber had gotten to the point where saving money on balloons was that big of a deal. But if you're running a business of any size, it's interesting to note that a company like Uber apparently faces the same pricing dilemma that you probably wonder about nearly every day. I'm betting you probably come to a different decision. So, here's the thing. Obviously, in terms of legalities, Uber is in the safe when it comes to their booking fee. They're no longer calling it a rider safety fee. Hey, it's just a booking fee. It's for us. That money goes straight to us. Whatever we decide to do with it, not your concern. It's our concern. I think it personally is the driver's concern, but there's nothing we can do to argue that on a legal ground. That's just a moral ground. But before, it was actually classified as the safety rider fee. And the whole thing was, it was suggesting that, hey, we are going to take this money and we are going to invest it in safety features. But here's the thing. They've been charging this safety feature fee for years, and they've only recently gotten serious about it. Only in the last year have we gotten the 911 dispatch button in the rider, and even more recently, the driver app. Only recently does the app encourage you to check the driver's plate license number, the car plate number, and check and do this whole say your name thing. Only recently has Uber added a feature where you can share your ride with a trusted person so they can actually watch and track the location of the car. These are things that should have been there years ago, and they were clearly getting the money to do it, and they just didn't want to. They didn't want to. They wanted to pocket the money. Granted, they are losing $2 to $4 billion annually every few months, so they'd just be losing that much more if they actually put the money towards what they were supposed to be putting it toward. But it does not feel good for anyone involved that Uber took this money and essentially did the exact opposite with it. Now again, I think legally speaking, they are covered now by calling it a booking fee, because that insinuates, hey, we're just going to charge this fee. What we do with it, not your concern. And heck, we don't have to be held accountable for what happens to it. However, again, it's one more reason that Uber just lied and or in my opinion, they lied. I think legally you could say they at the very least were not 100% honest with what they were doing with that money. And they just took everyone for a ride. You know, they stole from the passenger, in my opinion, because they charged for a service they had no intention of fulfilling. And the drivers didn't get a cut of that, which I think was also stealing, because that should be included as part of the fare. Personally, that's what I believe. I know a lot of people feel differently about that. I feel that way. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. What do you think about this overall? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with the writer? Or heck, do you side with Uber? Do you think this is really not the big deceptive thing that they say it is? I would love to know. So, comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if gas prices get you just a little down, check out the Get Upside app below. It's totally free, but you get cash back. Did I say that already? I think I said that already. I'm so sorry, folks, if I said that already. Anyway, if you want to see more content from me that's not rideshare related, check out my other YouTube channels, Kevin T. Rodriguez, the Apptrepreneur Vlogs, and Autograph Hound. And finally, if you want to talk to me or other fellow rideshare drivers, check us out on Facebook at the Apptrepreneur Hangouts. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.